live, Derek. We're live in now.
That close.
Now.
Now?
All right. So Angelina, if you want to,
Sharing.
So yeah, if you want to do
The post.
the single post. Make sure you put hashtag cultural appropriation on it.
The important hashtags.
Important. Minority jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today you guys are.
Are we the minority?
Well, there are
Yeah.
4 white people in here.
That's fine.
We are the minority.
It's not normal. I usually like to make the girls a separate minority. Like,
it's on Facebook.
I mean, you guys can do whatever you want.
So yeah, but we're still white. So.
Well, whoops.
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 Whoopsies.
Oh, I could share it on my story. Cool.
Wow. Did you do the Facebook thing?
Shared.
No, guess not.
Yay! I found it.
So
All y'all just have to bear
Yes.
through this while we
Sorry.
advertise.
And
One
meanwhile,
day
we're
only.
drinking some New Belgium beer.
One Monday only.
Delicious New Belgium beer.
Brought to you by.
Ooh boy.
New Belgium.
You're pronouncing it wrong. It's burp.
It's crisp. It's
Burp.
refreshing.
Okay.
Is everything shared and ready?
Yeah.
Everything's shared
Oh.
already. You're on your
Stare at me is what I
Alright.
have posted to Facebook.
5,
I'd be under myself.
4,
No, I'm on
3.
Maniacs, happy Monday. Happy July, frickin' A, 2019. This is Soundcasting Network's very own video game podcast. We are known as saltTier. This is episode 32. We're coming to you from Studio 212 here in South Lake Union, Seattle, Washington. You know, USA, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way. I can't go further than that.
Earth.
Yeah, I don't think he goes
Earth.
past that.
Earth. And most notably, I'm gonna pop this off right at the beginning. We have Emperor Elote. We have the Regent of Rigatoni, the Prince of Parmesan. We got Keith the Boogie,
Woo!
CEO
Here.
and birth mother of SoundCloud.
Huzzah.
And we are the result of the nastiest of placentas of all of the podcasts.
Oof.
And yeah, we are saltTier, and your argument is.
Invalid.
Thank you.
There
Wait,
you
our
go.
argument is your argument is what?
Invalid.
Thank you.
Very
You're
chill.
shouting over here.
The chillest.
Oh
invalid.
my god, invalid. Well, thank you. If you didn't notice, this is Loud and Brown. I'm at Loud and Brown Instagram and Twitter. If you want to game at me, I'm Gross Def with a PH on all the things. On my left, I have.
Damn it. Yo, you got Von Shady on his left. I was not prepared for any intro, but anyways, you can find me on Von Shady on most social medias, except for Twitter, which is _ Von Shady. I will figure out how to get that underscore removed
Someday.
someday.
Or that person removed.
I mean, he's already fallen off Twitter, so it doesn't fucking matter. And I don't use Twitter effectively, so, you know, 2 wrongs do make a right. Anyways, to the far... Should we introduce our guests, or should we go...
Actually, swing back around. Swing back around, my boy.
Alright, to 2 people to my right, we have...
What's up? You have the Saverings. Probably just catch me on Steam because that's all I really do these days. That's about it. And to my right,
You don't do the social medias.
nah, they're all kind of shut down right now. But to my right,
Band.
Hey, it's me. It's Sage Bell on basically everything. Sometimes there's an underscore model. Who really knows? I don't know. If we're playing video games, I'm not playing video games. I'm such.
No.
I'm making
Are
cosplays.
you a fake gamer girl?
Nah, for like the last
Wow.
like 3 weeks.
where's your gamer dress at, huh?
Made by men exclusively.
I played like 4 hours of Overwatch in the past month, and that's probably it. I stare at Tekken because I need to play it because we're going to EVO in a month.
I thought you were doing Soul Calibur.
Jealous.
I'm doing both.
Oh, you're about to get fucked.
I'm
We're
about
gonna
to get
slapped.
fucked.
Yeah, but we're gonna get the Bullet Club skins and play in style.
Yes.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
Besides,
Oh, yeah, guest to my right.
Yeah, to our special guest.
We
who-
got our 2 special
Us
guests.
there.
Returning.
Hello, my name is Angelina, community manager to the Stars, and also at Exato Games. Having a lot of fun there with my friend John.
That's me. EGS Dark Nuke on the Twitters. I also work on Elo Hell. I'm the game designer, marketer, etc. Lots of hats.
Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Woo!
Many hats.
Nice. Good to have you.
Woo!
Thanks for coming back.
Then we have to shout out to our sponsors, New Belgium Brewery.
We have a sponsor.
Hey!
Clink, clink,
Some
clink.
people have not got
Clink,
to
clink.
harvest our rewards. Thank you, Angelina, for hooking up the
Clink.
sponsorship, and thank you, Lauren, for actually giving us the beer.
Yes.
We have a nice,
Lauren's the
refreshing
best.
beer of New Belgium Passion Fruit, Voodoo Ranger, their IPAs,
I'm drinking
and then
it.
we have Mural, which is they're very ethnic. Bad boy LaCroix is the best way to say it. But anyways, hashtag Live Rangersly.
Is that a
So-
real thing?
Yeah, it is. Hashtag
It's
live.
a part of the copy. I know legit. Thank you, Lauren, for a unique hashtag for us to yell in between any segment I want.
Yes.
So to be completely specific, people, you maniacs that are following probably know New Belgium from their saltTier label. But we are specifically,
I didn't for the longest time.
yeah,
I didn't.
we are specifically part of the New Belgium Northwest family, where the main goal is the Voodoo Ranger IPA. And IPA, higher in hops, more IBUs. Therefore, Ranger IPA, live rangerously. And of course,
Forgot the hashtag, damn it.
hashtag live rangerously. But make sure you know,
7.7% alcohol.
yeah. And make sure you know that New Belgium is an employee-owned B Corp, and they put equal emphasis on impact to people, planet, and profit. They're the good people in the world.
I don't even like IPAs. I actually can't stand all IPAs, but
Get him off the stage.
I
Get 'em
like.
off- get 'em
I
off.
really like. I actually, this is like the only IPA I will go out of my way to drink.
Because it's
Redemption.
juicy.
Thank you, John.
It's juicy.
And much
So
thanks to all of that. Give it a try. We're going to throw a link. We're going to have an intern put a link for the beer on our Facebook, and we're probably going to put something on the IG pretty soon.
And remember, be 21 or over and drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly.
We legally have to say that.
But
I
do
say
it.
it in my cider posts too
Yeah.
on my YouTube.
TBD. And we're going to start off with the intros and announcements on what we've been playing, doing, watching, licking. I'm going to start to
More
my
licking.
right. We're going to go to Save Rings.
It's been kind of a mixed bag. I'll start with the obvious one. I'll just get this out the way. I've been playing Stellaris because that game is is broken, and it's beautifully broken. You know when a game is just like it's not glitchy. It's not maybe it's a little glitchy, but there's just little fun little exploits you find in there, and it just makes that game just totally worth playing. It was already an enjoyable experience, but now you're like, let me see if I can trick. I fell out of the world, but that's totally fine. So I've been playing that because it's broken right now, but it's great. And also, I got Xbox Live and Game Pass for PC because when they announced it at E3, I tried it out. So I've been messing around with that a little bit, and that's an interesting experience playing like Gears of War on the Xbox on your PC. That's pretty with a keyboard and mouse. So that's been kind of cool.
So you
The
cheat.
future.
Yeah, I totally hacked the exploits with the keyboard and mouse on that game. So
So-
headshots all day.
Quick question: with the Game Pass for Xbox and playing all the games on PC, is it just like a stream of an Xbox on a server somewhere?
It installs natively as of the newest Windows 10 update, 1903. That actually added a feature where it runs Xbox games natively. So you download them to your PC and it plays them on your PC.
What if I
That's
put the
cool.
game disc in?
That's interesting. Theoretically, it should work.
It should work. Now I have to put a
I gotta
CD
go back and
drive in.
put a drive back on my computer. Damn it.
Yeah. How many people actually still have drives in there, like CD drives or optical drives? Maybe a floppy disk.
Oh my god.
I see one
Floppy
person.
disks.
I have a CD drive in my computer
Yeah.
still.
Oh,
do?
you
You
do?
got the CD
one
drive.
out
A
of 6.
CD. It's not a
I got
DVD.
one.
It's
Oh,
just a
2 out of
CD.
6. We got a
It plays
third.
DVDs.
Okay.
It doesn't play Blu-ray, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Is that really even a CD drive anymore?
yeah.
Anyways,
So
It's a
that's
disc.
That's
a
really
disc drive.
That's really been about
a
it.
disc with a C at the end of
Yes.
it.
I know I
It's a
can
Sonic.
play. Nope, it's gone. Never mind.
Oh, I can't play anything.
You can play Wing Commander.
Can you
3.
play? Can you play mini discs on them?
Laser
Actually, I
discs.
think mine I can.
Yo,
It has
the
the little
MDs.
disc slot and then the big disc slot inside the
A
same
mini disc
slot.
is a cassette
You
thing
can- you can
with
play-
a CD encased in
There
it.
was a mini CD player though.
You can play
Yeah.
Mist. You can play Mist on it. Yeah.
They did have those really weird CDs that were like shaped like a Japanese coin, and then it would play like a CD, but it would only hold like maybe 800 megs.
You mean like the GameCube?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of like a GameCube game, except you cut the sides off.
Like,
All right,
That's
Maniacs.
what I was gonna say.
Maniacs, we're going to go even farther back. I'm not sure if anybody listening right now is over 30, but back in about 2000, the MD format was out by Sony, and their mini disc. They were bigger. They were smaller than CDs, bigger
were
than
durable.
bigger than a thumbstick. Very durable. They were encased,
yeah, the PSP.
so they couldn't get scratched. Like it was like a CD in a cartridge.
It was like a floppy disk that was super thick with
Yeah.
3 C's.
THS. And I was fortunate enough to go to Akihabara, Japan that year, and one of my main homies, Jason Brown, bought an MD player for his car, and of course he drove a blacked out 86, like AE86 Toyota Corolla, right? With an MD player, and you had to like
With
rip
an MD player in the deck.
Wow.
in
With
the
the
deck
UMDs?
in 2000. That is the most JDM car on the island, and he had the mesh tires. He had a Flowmaster low profile exhaust. He wasn't terribly fast, but if he was racing you downhill, he would slap you. Like,
Well, that's because he didn't have fire on the car.
yeah.
Everyone knows that makes it go
Yeah,
faster.
Pretty wonderful.
those actually were like quote unquote failure like in the consumer market, but on the professional side, those were the standard for over a decade, like recording music and all that kind of stuff. I was going to the Art Institute, rest in peace, rest in piss, however you want to say it.
Rip.
I was going to the Art Institute in California at the time, in about 2000, 2001, and all my audio production classes we used mini disc because they were the standard back then.
It was easy to record on.
Yep.
It was like a more advanced version of like an 8-track. Like I had a mini disc player and a recorder.
And by 2000, they'd already been out for like almost 10 years, but they were just a standard in movies and music production. So, yeah. Where were we? What were we talking about?
Nothing. I
Games?
told an intern we're going to link a little thing about mini discs. We're going around the table and see what we've been up to.
Okay. So yeah, I bought a couple more games and I haven't got to them yet, as usual. So
Big fucking surprise.
I know. Some cool ones. I got Trover Saves the Universe.
Oh, so good.
I haven't played that yet. I have it in VR, but I haven't hooked up my VR yet. There's a couple other really awesome games, and I haven't even picked them up yet. So I haven't even touched them yet. I've installed a few of them, haven't played them yet. So pass it.
I had Pride over the weekend, so I didn't play
Hey.
any video games.
Playing that IRL game.
Yeah. Went to a queer ladies dance night. It was pretty great. The DJs were better than last year. But we felt a little weird by the fact that we were, like, majority of the people were white, and then the music was, like, raunchy hip-hop.
Like an N-bomb or two.
No, more like certain types of curves that are associated with black women versus, like...
Was sweat dripping down someone's curves?
Yes. And, the booty shake and... I don't know how to make this sound, like, very plain.
No, I just
Barking.
You made it sound like very white.
Yeah, I was trying to like the whole venue was really white and there was no queer music, but at least the DJs were better this time around.
Ah.
So that's
In defense of that statement, though,
it was just
said part, like, I have some Caucasian friends with wonderful curves, and you know what? Those songs are absolutely also about you.
yes,
And,
definitely.
and it's actually more applicable from up here because I'm from the Midwest where everything is flat. If you know what I'm saying.
Got him! Fucking got him!
So
That's good.
since I moved to the West Coast, it's just like what? So yeah. Oh, so it's yeah. So I agree with Derek. There are some curves out here.
Hi, Gina Marie. Good seeing you. It's been a minute.
So
Hi, Gina.
To our guests, what have you guys been doing since we last had you on our podcast?
It's just been like 2 months.
And I don't think you've actually
I've
been
never
on the
been on it.
podcast. So
I sat over in the
Ju-
corner and
Popping
you,
his
you
cherry
were
today.
technically here, but you weren't allowed on the
we
stage.
Yeah.
got James
I didn't get
onto
speaking
the
right.
mic.
His name's
But
John.
First, Angelina.
Yeah.
I know John. I don't know why I said
Oh yeah, so
She
me
was
personally, I've been enjoying Wizards Unite, but I was also at Pride this weekend, so that's been taking up a lot of time in a fun way, and a lot of barbecuing, enjoying summer in Seattle. It was like our first summer weekend where it was super hot. What do you guys think about Wizards Unite?
I didn't get to play it when I was in Australia, and my friend was like, "You need to join the beta. It's happening right now." I'm like, "I can't do anything," and I sat there for like a day trying to get onto the beta. Lo and behold, couldn't do it. So I just played Sega Heroes.
It took me
Nice.
a day before it let me join Wizards Unite. Like everyone else was like, I got it, and I clicked and it's like register, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
And
If I
then
gotta register, I'm not doing it.
Too
register
much work.
was like sign up for getting in queue.
You
to
might
download.
get it.
Well, you got it just a couple hours later.
I don't want to wait a couple hours when I sign in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I want my game and I want it now.
exactly, John. Exactly.
I want it all.
But
I
Wizards
do
Unite.
enjoy the like being able to swipe on the screen, like how you can't play it like Pokemon Go in the sense where you're driving or you're on a bus. Let's don't play while driving. You can't play that as quickly, but I do enjoy the aspect where I should use a stylus pen to do my like weapon.
Yeah, because I noticed the swipe patterns are very unique. Like
Yeah.
you're actually
You're
drawing-
judged if
drawing-
you can actually write
trying
well.
things. I would just draw penises on it all day, every day.
You won't save anything.
That's fine. I'm imposing my will. Anyways,
your own
Wizards Unite, Angelina, and Pride.
Yeah, I need to grab myself a stylus pen.
Yeah.
They should. I mean, they're cheap. You could get a Samsung Note 8, and it has one
Oh.
right here.
Wow.
Hey.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
Yeah, we're
I
not
have-
sponsored by Samsung.
Hey, I have an iPhone and it
Doesn't have one.
Doesn't have a pen. Do
I-
not give him an iPhone. He does not deserve that sponsorship.
I have a couple Microsoft branded pens that have stylus on the butt.
Ooh. I remember a couple of those.
I heard butt. What are we talking about?
Next.
John, what have you been doing?
I started Trover Saves the Universe,
Okay.
and it is fantastic. It's definitely not Rick and Morty, if you know what I mean.
Hint.
But yeah, the gameplay is super fun. It really reminds me of like the old school, like Banjo-Kazooie Mario days with like a little twist on the how you control. Other than that, basically like mostly all the different auto chesses going around.
Oh, so you've gone into all your like hands into auto chess right now.
Oh yeah, I've played tons of OG auto chess, tons of, well, not as much Underlords.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. I actually have to play that at my job.
Underlords?
Yes.
See,
game testing
so
it?
Underlords is my
Oh,
least favorite of the auto chesses, only because the amount of information they give you is, or most of the information you need to like make decisions in 30 seconds is obscured
Yeah.
by menus.
Yeah, or they just don't show you proper stats. Like, can I
Yeah.
just see what this guy is without clicking over here first? Can I
Right.
just hover over it and see what it is?
You got those like 3 buttons on the side where you can only see your synergies, your items, and your
In your little shop or whatever.
yeah, all like one at a time. I hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that. So I generally play Teamfight Tactics, but it has its own stat problems, probably worse than the other two. But at least you get all the synergy information, and like I like their item system. Although Underlords has a really good item system too, where you guaranteed one every time, but then you only get one item total. I could go on and on about auto chess all day. It's a fun game. At the end of the day, it's like it's pizza. Even the worst one is still really good.
Nice.
Wait, it's
I
literally
don't know. I
called
had
auto
shit pizza
chess?
before. It
Yeah.
was not great.
Well, one of them's auto chess. The original one is auto chess and has nothing to do with chess, except that it takes place on a chessboard,
Yep.
chess size board.
Yep.
Uh,
He's not wrong.
yeah,
And
and-
all the pieces speak Chinese.
Yeah.
Well, Mandarin, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
No, it's Mandarin. It's not Cantonese.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they overheat your phone. It's like,
I was a little worried when I like booted up auto chess on my phone. I'm like, wow, this is really hot for no reason.
right? It's
Wait.
like not a.
Wait till they start putting a
Real hot.
Radeon graphics in your phone because
Oh my
they're
God.
gonna start doing that.
Really?
Yeah, Samsung and AMD signed a deal. They're gonna start
Oh,
putting
man.
Radeon.
Ooh, I'm gonna
Stuff
get
in
like a
phones.
mini Radeon
Yeah.
on my phone.
It's gonna that's gonna.
It's gonna radiate a bunch of heat.
Yeah, my pop socket comes off whenever I play auto chess.
Well, you don't need that.
No.
No grips.
Hot pocket.
Hot pop socket.
That's not even close. To that.
Pop socket. Hot pocket.
Yeah.
We're
it's
not
close.
sponsored by Hot Pocket.
No, neither of those are we sponsored. Stop shilling that in.
I
Shill
wish
the
we had
beer.
Hot Pockets.
You know,
Share the
who,
bill.
you know who is our sponsor?
New Belgium.
New Belgium.
Oh, New Belgium.
Hashtag live dangerously.
Live dangerously.
There we go. That's the sponsor.
And we have, lastly, for what they were up to this week, we have the Dark Prince of Dilridge and the, I don't know, the Commander of the Soft Boys. We got Von
It's the
Shade.
Lord of the Soft
The
Boys.
Lord
with
of the
an E.
Soft
With the
Boys.
fucking E. Get it right.
All right, what you been up to? And you know what? Here you go. 30-second mic skills. Go and rant about non-game stuff if you need to.
AEW's fucking fantastic. If you did not watch the pay-per-view, it's fucking free right now. Go watch it on br.live. It's called Fighter Fest with FYTERFEST. Fucking fantastic shit. They're starting to push the hardcore envelope. They got great talent right now. If you're fucking falling asleep on pro wrestling, you gotta start with AEW. WWE is slowly starting to do that shit. I've been watching Twitter, and they're starting to get extreme, as people would say, what Paul Heyman would say from ECW. So I didn't play any fucking video games this weekend except for Bloodstain, and that was it.
Nice.
Yeah, I seen you on there a lot.
And just to wheel that around, more people need to play Puyo Puyo. Puyo Puyo Tetris, baby.
Yeah, that shit's old. That
But
shit
it's
is old.
amazing.
He's only saying that because that was a side tournament match you can get at CEO. CEO was the Florida version of Evo, so they had all the fighting games plus Puyo Puyo Tetris and like a handful of other non-fighter games to be competitive in.
The Florida version of Evo. So it was like Street Fighter and then people breaking into Wendy's to make their own burgers.
I mean, that's fine. That's how it goes. And then they had a bunch of pro wrestling.
And then you gotta hop over a wild alligator.
Literally, I would go to CEO over Evo at this point.
Oh, we're doing that next year.
We are going next year. We're
See
gonna
that?
get. They had fucking Justin Wong in the front seat or like the front area, like all like
Oh, it
the
was
ice
hype.
in the front.
It was so hype.
They had like all their little fighter stars out there in the front row, and then like they had good shit. They actually did a spot with Alex Shabali getting a fighter stick to literally beat someone on the back with during a match in their hardcore match.
Maniacs, we're gonna get more into this when we got Goon back here because Goon will have way more to say about all of his anime fighters. Am I saying it right? Anime?
Anime, that's
Yeah.
it. That's
Thank
perfect.
you. I said that
I thought it was
perfectly.
in mean.
It's
And mean.
Anime.
Anime.
Yes.
Fire Pro Wrestling. There.
There you go.
There you go.
Fucking fantastic.
I made it relevant there.
All right. So, moving on to the first topic. Are we swinging this to V-Dash? We're going to talk about Nickelodeon.
Oh no, that's me actually.
All right. Let's
So,
go on Shady.
Nickelodeon has decided, thanks to streaming media, is now going to try to break into the esports category by starting their own network called Nick X with a huge X. Fucking X gonna give it to you.
Okay.
Is this 2003? Like,
competing with like Disney's like X station?
oh, the
yeah.
XD?
Yeah.
XDS. I thought XD was just like a child show. No,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Nickelodeon X is a designated esports channel that they're gonna try to launch in the next year or two.
And hold on, before we go any further,
Wow.
can we just establish it that every time we talk about this, we have to all make the X?
X.
Okay. You guys
So-
at home can't see that, but
On the
stream.
podcast, just imagine a bunch of X's coming up.
Yeah,
So
but
many
we're all
X's.
going to throw up our hands so our super producer can take a picture of us doing X's, but we're going to keep talking.
Yep.
He's going to bring up his camera, but keep going.
But anyways, Nickelodeon has decided it's about time to step into the
I was
esport.
waiting.
Sorry, I'm trying to fucking talk. God damn it. Anyways,
Talking X.
talking X. So essentially, Nickelodeon is gonna try to capitalize on doing esports coverage, mostly in like Overwatch, Dota, all the like Fortnite, specifically
Come on.
Fortnite.
I mean, why not? Because the CBS app went so well streaming for them. They might as well go for that.
I mean, you might as well, right? The other thing is like they're not also gonna be solely focused on sporting events. They're gonna cover all video game genres.
You know what I wanna
You better
see?
believe Minecraft's gonna be in there.
You know what I want to see? They got to keep it real. Okay, remember when we were kids, we went to Chuck E. Cheese and they had actual video games in there? I have kids now and I go in there and they have like fake games that like don't even work when the kids turn the steering wheel and stuff. I want to see that
my
on
God.
that channel. I want to see those bullshit Chuck E. Cheese games that don't even work. Keith knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
When you're doing the racing game, you're doing the turn, your car
Yeah.
doesn't turn.
Yeah, the kids
I
are just
mean-
like, "Derp, yes, I'm turning." Like, what happened to pole position? Used to be up in here. Like, what happened to that? So, yeah, I want to see that. If they're gonna do that channel, they got to keep it real and have at least one show
wanna-
with like
Oh,
bullshit Chuck
go
E.
ahead,
Cheese
John.
games on it.
I want them to bring back some of their like old school like actual competitive tournaments like Legends of the Hidden Temple esport.
Yes.
But that's not an esport.
Well,
That's
that's not an esport, true.
what they
But, like,
what they're probably gonna
Nick
leverage
Arcade.
is gonna be Nick Arcade.
Ooh.
Nick Arcade's coming back.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
You better believe it.
And I want to see a show where the kids play a video game version of Double Dare. Like instead of actually playing
Oh.
Double Dare, they play a video
Yeah.
game.
VR?
No, ooh, yeah.
Yes.
There was
Or like
actually,
an AR one would be good.
There was
AR
a
or
show.
VR, go Nickelodeon.
I don't remember what it was called, but Nick had a show for a while. Maybe it was Disney, but I'm pretty sure it was Nick. That was video game. It was like that, like what you just said. It was like kids would go play like little micro spots on
it
video
was
games.
Absolutely Nick Arcade.
Yeah.
It was Nick Arcade.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they had a really horrible green screen like boss battle.
And me and Von Shady were screaming at them. It was like, it's on your bottom right,
Just fucking duck, you nerd.
you garbage human.
I mean, they had like really poor like challenges, like all right, get a high score on like fucking Gradius 3 or some shit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fucking painful to watch. And then on top of that, they had a board game kind of like go in a certain direction, and then they would be given like video game trivia, or not video game trivia, but trivia in general. And
But they had mini games to get allowed to go into that final battle. It
Yeah.
was game oriented.
well,
Yeah.
it was point oriented.
Do the three different kinds of games: video games, board games, and real life games.
So like an Omegathon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Omega.
Actually, Maniac. Sorry, I threw that. That was kind of highbrow. If you're not familiar with the thing I just said, which is likely because getting to PAX is not easy.
True.
At the Penny Arcade Expo
It is
West.
now.
Yeah,
mean, it is.
I've accidentally gotten in like the last 3 years, I think. I didn't even try. Like people were like, "Hey, you want to go?" Okay. So, yeah.
Anyway, at PAX West, there's something called the Omegathon, and it is many games with many people competing, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm the best at all the current fighting games and the shooters. I'm gonna do this," and it's like, no, it's
I have an ELO of 2.3 and the KD ratio
yeah,
on
but
Call of Duty.
But then they get in there, and it's really a toss of the dice. Sure, it'll be like Counter-Strike, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, what? Didn't one year they tried to like make people compete on solving Rubik's cubes the
Yeah,
fastest?
there was
Oh
a
my
Rubik's
God.
Cube parts. There was a like I think one year
Uno?
they had like cup stacking. Didn't they have? I think so. Something physical like that.
They
You
also
gotta
had a
show
crane
people
game
your
as one of their
IQ
finale
somehow.
games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Crane Games is the Omegathon finals. So they're games, but across the board, which is what PAX is cool about, because most people go to the main floor. It's all the newest games with all the big people. But if you go to like fours, it's like 2 and 3, tons of tabletop, tons of indie. It's everything under the moon, and it's fantastic. And we will see you there. We're gonna be there in spades. Me and Von Shady.
I did not buy my tickets.
It doesn't matter. We'll
Never
be
get
at
to
the
it.
parties, and we'll have zero New Belgium
You'll
I'll be at the
stomachs.
parties.
You'll be like, "Oops, I'm on the show floor." Like,
Whoops.
kinda how-
Whoops.
How'd I get
Well,
here?
guess who won a CPU? Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've
That's a true story. He actually
it's a true
did.
story. I actually did win an AMD CPU, which was I think like 2 steps below my. God,
Yeah.
I forgot what the
True story.
AMD
He was on the show
CPU
talking about how to win shit at PAX, and I ran into him at PAX while he was winning shit. Like
Yeah.
that actually
Nice.
happened.
So it was roughly a $200 CPU. So it was like mid tier. And then some guy literally made a deal for me, and I'm like, "You're gonna buy me a keyboard," and he bought me a $200 keyboard in exchange.
Nice.
When did you get that CPU? Because I got a CPU from AMD one year too.
Yeah.
Was that?
That was like 20.
I want to say 16.
15 or 16.
No, it was not 15. I was not with my ex-girlfriend at that point. It was 16 or
Is
17.
that how you mark your PAXs?
The worst.
It's how I-
The worst.
It's how I mark all like my
I mean,
life
Sounds about
stories.
right.
Is which girlfriend was I dating at that time period?
I've been to 4 PAXs, and I was with or without different people all 4 PAXs. So that is fair.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah.
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 All right.
No, I'm not gonna keep that going.
I can make the maniacs real sad. I've been to 10 PAXs, all single. Up top.
Hey!
Hey, all right. Haha.
All single.
All
It's
by yourself.
fantastic.
Oh,
All-
But Loud and Brown, I'm glad you were bringing up those different games because I would like to see like a tabletop show on there. I'd like to see a
I mean,
a
podcasts,
LARPing
tabletops are
show.
good.
I'd like to see a cosplay show, like all kind of stuff
Geek
on there.
and Sundry for kids.
For kids, yeah, that'd be dope. Nerds
That'd actually
for kids,
be really
something
good
like that.
to like harness and kind of nurture all these different avenues on Nick
Yeah.
X.
Have a show that shows
Nick
the kids
X.
how to be a
Yes.
DM or something. Yeah, Nick X.
Exactly, man. People are gonna miss out on the video.
Coming to
podcast.
an extra streaming service, you got to pay $10 for near you.
a month, $10 a month.
And shall we move on, my friends?
We shall.
Moving to the next topic. Tattoo?
Tattoo?
Yes.
Tale
Tattoo.
2?
This would be
Tattooing.
this would be Take Two Interactive.
Oh,
The
Missing
parent
that E right there.
the parent company. I was in a rush. The parent company of 2K and Rockstar. You guys might have heard of Rockstar games. You might have heard
Wait,
of 2K.
Take Two Interactive is over Rockstar?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they own
Okay.
Rockstar and they own 2K.
That was the other way around.
Yep. They own Rockstar. They own 2K. I'll keep this short and sweet. Basically, the president of CEO of Rockstar, who's basically a robot. If you actually like really, I don't know. I think he's like Men in Black. There's a little alien in there driving him. There's something wrong. I don't know. He's a little detached from the world.
Yeah.
Is the impression I get. Anyway, this guy pretty much said he addressed how it takes a while for Rockstar games to come out, and then when there's ports of it, like say like when GTA comes out on the console, it takes about 18 months or whatever for it to come out on the PC. He addressed that and said he wanted to shorten that. So I literally have on the board here, yay, ...
No.
But the way they plan on doing it is cutting content in the games when you first
Cut
get
that
them.
shit right in half down the line.
And just break it off and sell it to you later.
Like
So they won't do
DLC,
episodes.
Sell it to you
islands,
later.
GTA.
So
I mean, they do DLC for GTA, and it's still like pretty massive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the DLC for GTA 5 is ridiculous.
Yeah,
What kind of
GTA 5 was DLC. GTA 4 was like the first time they did DLC because 3 didn't have DLC, and neither did San Andreas.
Yeah. So I just put that up there. Discuss if you all like. If not, we can move on.
GTA is like it's like making an Elder Scrolls game. Like you don't half-ass those franchises. Like I feel like if you come out with a GTA game before it's like as massive as it is, and they always expect like the next one to be even bigger than the one before. So like if you cut that into a third because you're gonna release more islands later, people will hate it.
That's where I think they're coming from, because as of right now, GTA 5 is the biggest entertainment thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, hey, if we do that every 7 years, what if we speed it up and do that every 3.5 years? Think of all that money. So I think that's where it's coming from with
They
that.
made like what 30? They sold like
It's
30 million.
It's never
copies or
enough.
something?
It's never enough.
Well, as video game companies, as we all know, John and Angelina, you're a video game company. You can never sell not enough units. You can always sell more units. Even people who have already bought the units, make them buy it again.
This is a cautionary
True,
tale, you guys. I
but-
don't want to be seeing you guys on Kotaku fucking up in like 5 years.
No.
All right?
Fucking Exato Games fucking sold too many games.
Jason
Oh,
Schreier
shit.
doing exposés on you guys.
Right.
Loot
Oh,
boxes,
God, no.
exploitation.
Remember us when
Yeah.
you're big.
Yeah, right.
We've got our psychologist checking our dopamine levels of our players.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, just to bring everybody into code, hey Maniacs, we're talking about Take-Two. We're talking about BioShock. We're talking about Borderlands,
Oh.
Civilization,
Makes sense.
Grand Theft Auto, Mafia, Max Payne, Midnight Club, and Red Dead. Like, these are huge games.
Every single one of those.
Huge games.
I have only played BioShock out of those.
Oh,
You've
sorry.
never played a Grand Theft Auto? The fuck is wrong with you? You need to get
What?
depraved like all of us.
You gotta get wasted.
Yeah.
Wasted.
Not
So
not
who
in the
owns
not in
it?
the alcohol content.
How am I marathoning?
I don't know.
Who owned it?
How is
It's everywhere.
Take
It's on
Two
everything.
not seen as like
A gigantic-
bigger than EA and Activision at this point?
They technically
Not-
are.
Yeah, like,
But
but
see-
everybody thinks like EA and Activision when they think of the two biggest publishers.
Oh, Derek, you also
And
left off.
Ubisoft.
You also left off
And
2K.
Ubisoft.
They make the only NBA game, and they make a couple other things too.
Yeah. I did not realize Take-Two Interactive was a juggernaut. I always
didn't
thought they
either.
were a subsidiary under Rockstar for the longest time.
No, they own
That's
Rockstar.
insane.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they're the parent company. They hold the holding company technically, so you can't sue them all at once.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoops.
The
Whoops.
I mean,
LLC.
those
The LLC.
Those franchises are also good because they all take their time with their games, though.
That's not good
They
enough.
also
though.
do Civilization. Holy shit.
Civilization is Prince fucking money. People
Mhm.
still buy the first one.
Also do
That's
XCOM.
good.
I'm looking at this list.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
XCOM.
Ooh.
It's fucking.
They got me with XCOM.
Yeah.
I'm an XCOM junkie. I played
Yeah.
the hell out of all those games.
It's like XCOM, Borderlands, Civilization. Mafia is like give or take.
Yeah.
They do the,
it still
the
sells
sports
really well.
MLB and NBA, so they have 2 sports out of the 3. You don't need a Madden, but if you have the other 2 sports, you can like even that out.
They technically have the NHL license, but they just don't make the games anymore.
No one plays NHL shit.
Which is
And they
a
have,
tragic because those games are
fucking,
really good.
Yeah, that's sad.
They have Pro Wrestling too, which is the WWE franchise, but I have problems with WWE like pro wrestling games.
Those do sell really well.
They
though.
sell so well.
Yeah.
That's what's fucked up about them. But I'll buy it. I'll still buy it. I don't care. Anyways, so that's Take-Two Interactive.
Fire Pro Wrestling.
Maybe, Fire Pro Wrestling is actually more legit than
It's
that.
better.
Would you be willing to have faster Take-Two games if they cut a third of their content?
No.
Yes.
No.
Ooh, one said yes.
You have to you can't overextend yourself. Just focus on quality over quantity.
Well, with the announcement from Nintendo and probably other video game companies are going to follow in suit, is they're willing to let a game get delayed now, and the
Yeah, to
mental
allow
health
for
of the company to not
better
burn out their
working
employees.
conditions. Yeah.
So
Was anybody around for the 90s? Do you guys remember waiting 4 years for the the Nintendo 64? You remember that shit? That
yes.
was the longest 4 years of my fucking life.
I mean,
never
how
been
lo-
more excited for a console.
How long did we wait between each Diablo game?
Those games are getting pumped out like crazy. Blizzard's already teasing in their little sprinklings of Diablo 4 on top of Immortals.
It's been over 10 years since 3 came out.
what? Has it been 10 years?
It's
No.
almost been. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
So
That was like-
old.
Diablo came out when I got my PC, and that
Let's-
was
let's go to the
under
intern.
like 21. I was like at least 21. So it's almost there.
I think
it's 8
that was
years.
I think that was 2011.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
10 years though. It's
I think-
8.
May 15th,
Yeah, but if they're teasing it, that means it's not
2012.
coming out.
All right, so 7
2012.
years ago.
Okay, that
7,
makes me feel
okay.
a little
7,
better.
not 10.
God,
But it was 10 between what 1 and 2.
That's fine, but that was not between 2 and 3.
How long between StarCraft 1 and 2?
That was
Don't
too
even
long.
get me
Like
started.
18 years?
Speaking of
Freaking-
which, I think we had StarCraft 2 news, right?
Yeah, they-
Oh yeah.
Isn't it free now? Is that the news?
It's been
No.
free.
I think John and Angelina actually had some news. They actually did their homework to show up to our show
Nice. What you guys got?
about StarCraft 2, right?
Well, I don't know specifically what you're talking about, but there is the bit that freaking Blizzard announced that they canceled a StarCraft game that they didn't even announce they were making in the first place. if that's what
First-person
you're
shooter,
talking
right?
about. Yeah, another first
Ghost.
person
They're
shooter.
still trying to make Ghost. That game was announced on.
Was it 98,
The
97?
game
Yeah.
on the N64. I think that
Yeah,
game
it was an
first
N64
teased.
game. I'm like the biggest freaking StarCraft nut, and like anytime a new StarCraft game comes out, I'm all for it. I get way too excited. So when they announced that and then showed it off and then canceled it, that hurt. And then they freaking it's like,
Single tier.
I don't need to know that a game is being made if you're just gonna cancel it. Like what good does that do my heart?
I know.
Yeah.
Just hide it.
They
from
didn't
it.
even want to tell you that was being made. They were just like, oh, it just canceled. Whoops.
Well,
Yeah.
technically, I don't think they told anyone. I think it just was in some documents that people were going through, and they're like, "Oh, they were working on this," and
I
that's
thought
just
they
gone
let
now.
people play it too. Didn't we have a friend that played it?
Not the
First
new.
person
Well, I'm
shooter?
sure that some people have played their.
Yeah, they did let
Yeah.
some people play it, so they teased it pretty heavily, and then they kind of pulled the plug on it.
It's BS.
Yeah, people have been waiting since like 1996 for Ghost. Like, what are you doing, man?
Painful.
Yeah.
Was that what you were talking about?
Rest in peace, future StarCraft game that never came to be. It's like an abortion. Are we cool with saying the abortion word here?
Oof.
Because it already happened. Let's not follow up with our sponsors. Let's actually go do a tech fap. Let's do
Tech
it.
Fab.
We haven't
Tech
done this
fap.
in fucking months.
Yeah.
From that to fapping. It's
I
fine.
will
sense.
make this fap quick.
Can't get pregnant if you're fapping.
Amen.
My apologies.
That's
Yes,
what we
and
always-
yes, I do kiss my mother with this mouth. I'll make this
good.
really quick. There is an emulator for the PS3, and the PS3 is remarkably hard to emulate for because it has some very goofy architecture in it. It's called RPCS3. It's the PlayStation 3 emulator for the
Rolls
PC.
right off the tongue.
Rolls right off the tongue and right into your heart. There's been people working on this for about 6 or 7 years now. They all do it part time, and finally, it is starting to come to fruition. I only bring this up if you're not so much interested in direct emulation like this. Chances are you already do. If you have a Switch or a Wii or a Wii U and you bought anything from the eShop, that's emulation. You buying Super Mario Brothers for the 3rd time on the Switch, that's emulation. So I only brought this up to kind of point to the future consoles. The PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox are rumored to be fully backwards compatible with all their previous versions. And this will be running some form of emulation. So I'm saying if a group of people working part-time on this can get something like this up and running, I'm very interested to see what Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft
This is
have.
gonna be very interesting because, like, with the history of emulation, I've been like weird into watching weird history documentaries on video game in general. There used to be an emulator called Bleem for the Dreamcast,
Yes.
and there was also an emulator that worked on the Mac where you actually had to put in PS1 disc and it would play it off the disc.
There was also Bleem on the PC and on the Mac too, I think.
Yeah. So, like, emulation is actually a viable market, and if companies figure out that they can't sue their way out for you to, like, stop it, they'll buy you out.
Yeah, and
Permanently.
and you use it all the time. If you play any kind of like older video game on your phone or anything like that in your browser, that's emulation right there.
It is emulation. And speaking of which, now that we're moving into PS3 emulation, Raspberry Pi has now released Raspberry Pi 4 in August, which is going to have the ability to have 4 gigs of RAM. They're going to have some weird, better CPU than it had.
Some nerdy shit. It's got
nerdy shit, but
it's got 4K dual external.
It can support
it's ridiculous.
2 4K displays off that fucking Pi, and a Raspberry Pi roughly ranges anywhere between, I think itself is $40 to $60.
I think the 4 gig one is $100 or something like that.
Which is fine. Yeah. I mean, the ability is that the prior version of the Raspberry Pi couldn't even support 4K. So, and that's like with some taxing shit.
USB-C for power. It's got some nice stuff.
Yeah,
on
it's upgrading. I'm about to fucking buy one, but I bring this up is because I use that as a standard to see where our current emulation standard is with video games. Last that I saw, they could barely do PS2 like emulation, not very well, but like they had trouble with PS1 and 64 emulation. So it's interesting to see where Raspberry Pi 4 will go with the emulation, if they can actually clear the catalog of N64 and PSX games. Maybe PS2. It won't get to PS3 because we already have problems with PS3 with modern day hardware. But anyways, Raspberry Pi 4 is going to come out, I think, either start of August or late August of this year. It's been in development for like at least 2 to 3 years.
You guys know Arcade 1UP?
I only know one up website.
I just remember OneUp.com.
Yeah.
They're
my
like
coworkers used to do a podcast on that.
They're like one of my favorite announcements from E3 this year. They make homegrown. They make DIY arcade kits that they sell at like Walmart for $250.
Nice.
Is that where they have like the Sanwa stick on top of it and then emulate all the ROMs?
I've seen those at Costco.
Yeah,
too, I think.
Yeah,
They're
they're so cool.
Oh,
and
shit.
so like they just announced at E3 that they're making the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like 4-stick arcade cabinet. It's gonna be like $350 because it's got the extra size to it. But you can take those things, you can easily rip apart the guts and like put a Raspberry Pi in it.
Nice.
And just have your own emulation
you
going.
Run MAME and everything.
Yeah,
on there,
so
all the games.
like they're gonna release this new one like at about the same time as Raspberry Pi 4. So I'm kind of like waiting for that moment.
Essentially, they could sell a shell and be like, get your ROMs the legal way.
Yeah, exactly.
Fire up some Alien versus Predator beat 'em up on there.
Hey,
Yeah.
Capcom.
So it's very interesting that you bring up this emulation cabinet. Essentially, is there's an arcade in West Seattle called Vidiot that basically just somehow gets away of putting in ROMs, like MAME ROMs in there.
They're free to play.
They're all free to play. That's how they get around with it. So you can sit there and just pump
Tricky.
in credits and do whatever. The drinks are dirt cheap. It's a dive bar at most. But my favorite thing about that arcade is for Virtual On.
Oh,
But that's
Virtual
not a
On,
MAME.
so
That's
good.
not a.
Yeah.
They have an actual machine for virtual
With
on.
the twin sticks.
The
So
twin
sticks.
good.
It usually
Group outing?
it soft locks
Yes.
pretty hard.
Yes.
I've now figured out how to like reset it myself. I found the plug where I can pull it and plug it back in. Don't do that. That's a liability. But I do it anyway. So every time I see that game soft lock, I'll be like,
Hacks.
all right, got to reset this, and then set it back in. All the arcade games are free except for the pinballs. Pinballs are charged a premium price at that point. But
50 cents.
yeah,
Premium.
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 But anyways, check out Vidiot in West Seattle. I'll go there every once in a while, and it's got cheap drinks. You can play all the emulators. Half the machines work, unfortunately, but it's all free.
And West Seattle is the best Seattle.
The fucking best. Don't let anyone tell you different.
And if anybody is just tuning in, is this the reset?
No.
Said it.
Yeah.
No.
What?
We got the
Intel?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is on the same topic. And we'll
Okay.
keep it
Same
brief.
topic. Tech Fat. Keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep it brief. Intel has announced that they will be supporting. This sounds totally nerdy, but it's completely in line. They'll be supporting what's called integer scaling. I wasn't aware of this technology, but basically, if you've ever tried to run an emulator and try to play an older game, an arcade game, an NES game, and try to play it on your 4K, your 1080p, whatever monitor that you have, you might notice like the pixels don't quite look right. There's a little flashing and flickering in there. It's kind of, the scaling looks kind of off. You got to mess with it. Some games look fine. Some games look janky. Ice hockey on the NES is probably one. The little short, fat guys are like extra short and fat. Basically, what this does is it rasterizes and takes all this information, and it's basically a new firmware and a new hardware. Basically, the way the other two people do it. This is coming from Intel, who's new and going into like actually pushing graphics in computers. You have your normal two, you have your AMD and their NVIDIA, and the way that they handle those old sprites is it's in a certain way, and it's been kind of the standard forever. Intel, because they're brand new, they're like, hey, we're going to try this other thing, which is called integer scaling. Basically, what it's going to do is going to make all your emulation look nice and crispy and scale upwards and look good on modern monitors and stuff like that.
Like, I know that there's a company that's really famous for having a like $200 or $300 box you can buy that will fix all the problems of emulation
With like the scan lines and stuff like
yeah,
that.
it like really makes the emulation authentic on HD
Basically,
TVs.
this will be a technology that's
Are you
built
talking about
into
like
your graphics
Are you talking about
card.
like a frame meister or like a video?
Yeah,
tailor?
that's exactly what it
FrameMeister. So when you talk about video inputs and you're trying to make your old school consoles look legit and actually work on a fucking HD TV or any sort of your flat screens, LEDs, plasma screens, if you're very serious about it, there's several ways to go about making the resolution looks perfect. It's either you mod your console or you put it through a scanline converter is one term to say, where you have a box that literally converts all your analog signal into a digital thing that makes it look decent and like applicable for video games for modern TVs of this generation now and here.
Yep.
The only downside is some games that convert from. I guess the best example is when you play Chrono Cross from PlayStation 1. When you switch between gameplay and menu, there's actually a completely different video signal that gets sent out, and it fucks up your TV for a little bit because it's trying to do a conversion that is not native to HDMI TV compliant or any sort of HD TV. It was meant for CRT, fucking tube TVs that are flat and heavy and all that shit. So something to think about. So scanline converters.
Yeah, so that's why I brought this up, because this technology could eliminate all that and just have it running natively, which also taps into the emulation and backwards compatibility and all that kind of stuff. And then we can skip the last one. What's up with the break?
Actually, it's time for the break.
It's time to break if anybody's just tuning in right now. This is saltTier Podcast, episode 32 here on the Soundcasting Network. Today we are brought to you by New Belgium Brewery.
Mine's empty.
Me too.
Live
I
rangerously.
need
Live
mine.
dangerously.
Hashtag live dangerously.
Hashtag mine's empty.
Once again, employee owned and a B certified corporation, which is such a fantastic thing that they do. And it's also great beer. And
Anyone need around? Anyone need a refresh?
oh yeah, refresh
all right,
please.
refresh me.
I'm okay.
And remember,
I need a
hashtag
refreshment.
live rangerously. And you can find more information at New Belgium _PNW and at Voodoo Ranger. Big ups to Lauren from New Belgium Pacific
Yay.
Northwest.
Big up.
Lauren!
Big up, Lauren. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yes.
Oh,
Also, I don't even really drink beer. I'm just like the mural right now.
well,
Yeah.
it's the Spanish bad boy LaCroix.
Oh, is that the Filipino in me? That's kind of like I'm Part Garcia,
pink.
so here we go.
Hey.
It's such a
Cruz
interesting
Azul.
flavor.
Viva la raza!
Whoa. You're
These are
not
really good.
Spanish.
I'm going to point out a couple of facts about the beer since we're here. The passion fruit is only 4.3, which means it's a the sweeter drinks tend to have a lower alcohol content, and the more tart drinks, with basically everything, have higher alcohol content.
Such,
so the
as
higher
this, such as this juicy haze. This is pretty tart.
and the juicy haze has
7.5.
7.7.
Wow.
7.5.
And just warning to everybody, that damn Voodoo Ranger Juicifer IPA is 7.7.
Yep.
It'll knock you on your keister.
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
This freaking
And
juicy
their
haze got me.
final one we haven't talked about is, what is this? We got watermelon, lime, hibiscus, and agave in it, and
Hibiscus.
it
Who would
is
have thought all
No
those
wonder you
would
like
be
4%, so it's lighter.
Hawaiian.
No wonder you like it. It's got hibiscus.
Sorry, I think I clipped on that one. Anybody listening, if you're on some nice headphones, I just ruined your day.
Rip.
Which is weird. You wouldn't ever know that Loud and Ron talks loud in the mic.
I don't think you were actually that loud in that moment.
Yeah. Oh, when I went chew.
I guess I blanked it out.
Oh, okay.
So do it again just to make sure
No,
that
no,
you
no, we're
get
good,
their
we're
ear.
good, we're good.
Jesus. That was my Aquaman impression. Best movie of what?
I
Not best
still,
movie
I
of
still
the
have
year?
not seen that.
I
Oh,
haven't either.
He-
We can have a viewing party,
It's good.
and then we can go play Tekken.
We should make an
Yes.
audio commentary.
Make it
he's
happen.
very moist in the movie.
Super moist.
Moist. We're moving on to the next
And
topic.
Islander.
And we're going to talk about a company here in the Pacific Northwest, in Bellevue, technically.
Very close to where I work. I love their campus.
And if you've got a Steam account, you know about them because they are. Who am I handing this off to?
Valve.
Oh, John.
Yes, we can all talk on
Give
this
us
one.
the-
You want to take this
Sorry,
one now?
I mean eggs.
Yeah.
Dark knuckle.
We have
Eggs Dark Knuckle.
we have someone who was personally affected. Everyone, hold on. A moment of silence, everyone.
eggs dark nuke. Eggs dark nuke.
It's
Now it's
EGS.
eggs dark knuckle.
I might have to
It's-
change
it's
my
not
username
eggs.
now. That's too
The
good.
dark knuckle.
Eggs Dark Knuckle.
You can at least change your display name.
Oh my God.
Hey, eggs dark knuckle.
I want to see the profile picture
this
that
is
goes with that.
saltTier, where your argument is
Hashtag live dangerously.
Dark knuckle.
Hashtag.
dark knuckle. That's our new motto here at saltTier Podcast, where your argument is dark knuckle. Continue. We're talking about a little company called
Exato Games.
No, Valve first.
Oh shit. Got ahead of myself.
I mean, you could go either way. It's up to, you know what?
No.
Dealer's choice. Go
Valve
which way
is
you want
in
to go.
Valve.
You know
Valve.
what? He got thrown because I was going to talk about what a tragedy that this affected you, and then
Yeah.
all that happened.
Oh,
Come on,
gosh.
eggs.
Dang it.
Come on, Knuckle.
Yeah, Valve. Y'all like the Steam Summer Sale, right?
It came out of
Deals,
nowhere last week, and I was like, oh shit, Steam Summer Sale. I already own half these games now. I don't really care
right?
anymore.
That's
No.
a big problem.
Mine's like, hey, I'm going right to the CD Key site and see what sales they have going on because they always run sales.
Because he's
when
cheap
they're
as
doing-
shit.
Yeah, I'm
Because
poor.
he's
I
a
have
daddy.
kids. I got kids to feed. All right, don't judge.
I got kids.
Yeah, the Steam Summer. That's a whole different problem. The fact that Steam Summer Sales are way down because everybody owns every game ever made now. But yeah, Valve, that new like race car game they've got going on as their kind of weird meta thing.
The Grand Prix is the theme this year,
Yeah,
which makes
Grand
no
Prix.
sense at all. I didn't like it.
Race to spend your money faster.
Everybody picked fucking Porgy because, of course, people
Yeah,
don't pick. It's the
what?
internet.
Like, whose idea? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of different things that went wrong with this thing, but the biggest was the fact that this game was their most complicated, obscured, just catastrophe of a game design like incident they've ever had.
Which is totally weird because their last couple ones have been solid. Like the Chinese New Year one, I fucking love that one.
Yeah, that was
I
a
got,
good one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I got all the emojis and everything from that.
Yeah, but they had this whole system where it's like you had to get these achievements and spend money. So you had to spend money to get like fuel, and then you had to do these in-game achievements for games that you had to like get your thing up or get your points up. But you also had to get like multipliers, and if you didn't get your multipliers up, you didn't get your cap up.
Okay, hold on.
So they made this into a really complicated game.
Doesn't this already
Well,
sound confusing?
We'll
I'm
give
confused.
We'll give it like a bird's eye view. Basically, there was 4 teams. So the sale starts on the top of the page.
Is it this sale?
Yes, it's the current sale that's happening right now. The top of the page, it's like join the Grand Prix. So you click it, and it's like, hey, pick one of these 4 animal-themed teams, and one of them was Porgy because it's the internet, and of course Porgy. Everybody picked Porgy, so that was already running away with
You
it.
fucking nerds.
Yeah. And basically they're like, hey, buy these. If you're on this team, buy these games. In these games, do these things. You'll get points, and then, like you were saying, convert the points to something, to fuel, and
bucks.
and da-da-da-da-da-da. And it goes on, and now that's where they lost me, and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't care. And then I didn't pick a team, and then no, I did pick a
So-
team, but it wasn't Porgy. But the whole hook of it was if you
Yeah.
were on the team that won, there was they said there was a chance of you would win a game from your wish list. They did. It was buried in the fine print though. It was the number 1 game in your wish list slot. You can move a game up to your number 1 most wanted game, and whatever game that was is the game that you win. But people didn't bother to read all the rules because there was already rules and there was already fine print, and they were just like, oh shit. So they dropped
Yeah,
a lot of smaller indie games.
Yeah, well, yeah, like even like big games. This happened to just about every game in the entire Steam store had this huge tank of like wish list like spiking downward. Like everybody was losing people on their wish lists. And wish lists are the number one way to convert sales on Steam for game developers, because it's just like this constant notification that you get in your email when sales happen, when updates happen, when game releases happen. So it's like, early access games get affected, and so all these people are confused, and like everybody just starts dropping their wish list stuff because they think that they need to, because they're going to get a random game from their wish list catalog. So I went and checked, and lo and behold, we had the same thing happen to us. Like, tons of games or tons of people just dropped us on their wish list, and like this is a big thing that's happening across or to developers everywhere in the industry. They're all posting their wish list graphs, and they're all just like tanking and tanking and tanking. Dead Cells was the one that made like news across some of the platforms that I was looking at, and I mean, that's a really popular, highly regarded game, great sales, still tanked. So it's like, come on, Steam. You can't keep doing these kinds of things. You can't, like, why even make a meta or like a meta game like that that's so complicated when nobody's really going to pay attention?
Their last one was click every day and open the box to get a piece of candy. Like, that was
Dude,
literally
that's
the
the
last
fucking
one.
best.
And
Fucking
that one
open the
was
damn
awesome.
box.
I was on there like twice a day, like, click, give me my fucking candy. I want to
It's
open
not
that
that
door
hard.
right there.
This is what happens when Valve doesn't make games anymore.
They
don't.
do.
They forget how to make games.
I
No,
mean,
they don't
instead
make games.
of making games, they made a new VR helmet.
Artifact.
Yeah, and look
Yeah,
how
they
that
made
went.
Artifact.
They made Artifact.
And nobody plays it.
Artifact or artifact?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Art of
card
something.
game?
Artifact.
Yeah.
Artifact.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
A game that less than 100 people a day play.
There was
100 people?
there was 301 people playing that game yesterday. All I know is when you unveil your newest game at one of the largest esporting events that's featuring your game, and you unveil that game there, and the crowd literally goes, "Oh, like
Oh, wow.
that's not good."
All Valve is good at these days when it comes to making games are buying companies that make games and then just putting their name on it.
Left
Auto
4
Chess,
Dead,
Dota.
I mean,
Dota,
that's not a bad
Portal.
strategy. To be honest, they just need to stop fucking up
Counter-Strike.
their strategies.
I mean, isn't that
Team
what
Fortress
other
2.
companies do?
Yeah,
But
like,
that's all Valve does, though.
yeah,
only-
They make hardware. They made the Steam Link.
but they started as a game development
They made Steam
company.
machines.
And
Yeah,
then
right.
they just stopped
Well,
making
enough.
games. It's like they have the money. They could have been making more Half-Lives and stuff, but I don't know. Like, this is why Epic Games and their whole like opportunity to take over this market exists. This is why GOG is making their thing, and this is why Itch.io exists.
And I also find this funny because wasn't it like just 3 weeks ago that Epic like stepped on a landmine with their sale and like everything just blew up in their face?
Yeah, because they were given like discounts of $10 off on every game.
Yeah, and a lot of those sales, those developers didn't sign off on, so they just woke up and their game was discounted. Like, hey, what?
Yeah, you can't do
Does
that.
that discount actually affect them too in that price?
Yes, especially when they didn't sign off on it. You just wake up and your game's on sale, and you're
Cool.
like,
Instead
huh?
of making $2, they make 2 cents.
Well,
Yeah.
so it didn't affect the developers. They still made the full like price of their game, but it's a big psychological thing. So if somebody sees a discount on a game, they're less likely to buy that game if they missed the deal, because they'll wait for the discount to come back. Because they're
So,
like, well,
if the game is $10 and it drops down to 2, people are gonna wait for that $2 sale.
yeah, well, of course, that's even more drastic. But even if the game goes from 60 to 50, and then people don't get it at that $50 price, and then they see everybody else did, they will wait for it to drop to 50 or lower before they buy it. And it's like a significant like psychological effect that discounts have on games.
I mean, I'm one of those people. I'll wait. I'll
Yeah.
fucking wait till the cows come home. I
Yeah.
don't care.
You gotta be a
Unless
smart
there's people I
consumer.
know
Same.
that I directly support, then yes, I will buy your game outright. Don't worry about that. But if it's strangers, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah,
That's too bad.
I was waiting as long as I could with They Are Billions, and I caved.
Yes.
That game
20%.
is fucking
Yes.
retardedly hard.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes, like I said, I'll bring this back to the N64. I learned back then that it's worth waiting for because we got Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time and all that crap. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll wait for games.
Right?
I'll wait for games.
Yeah.
I
So,
wait till I have money.
That's
like,
it.
like whenever the
money.
Steam sale goes up, I don't have money. It's payday. I can't.
Yeah.
Or it's rent.
Yeah.
Rent is due, so I can't afford anything for like a couple weeks.
I went through really bad points of depression, and I just spend money on fucking Steam sale. It is fucking great. All these games I don't play.
Got a little high right there. Got a little
Yep.
buzz.
Did you guys buy anything from the Steam Summer Sale so far?
Not today.
Yes.
Not today, but overall.
Yes.
No.
What'd you buy? What'd you buy?
Hold on. Let me look it up because I bought a few.
I mean,
Come back to me.
the problem is like I'm running into that problem where I've already gotten all the games I wanted. I don't know what else there is out there for me to grab. Like, I thought about getting my friend Pedro, but that was like, what, 10% off? So, not a huge deal, but it was something I could be like, oh yeah, I'll spend money on it. I'm also on an embargo. I need to stop spending money because I'm trying to move out of my place. And I already have Super Mario Maker 2 on, like, waiting for me to buy. So, and the other thing is I bought, fucking Bloodstain like 2 months ago, or not 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago.
I've been seeing you playing that a lot.
That game has a lot of, like, not problems, but a lot of things I need to do, and I'm too stupid to figure out half the shit. Because I'll just run through things and not pay attention. I broke down and looked at a fucking walkthrough because I got stuck trying to figure out where to go to the hidden desert. I felt really shameful about that. But the thing is, I did find the final boss of the game, and I beat him on accident, and I didn't realize that. And they're like, "Oh, you get the bad ending." I'm like, "Fuck you, game! I did the game. I did what you wanted me to do, which is beat the bad guy, and I fucking did it." But apparently, I have to beat like 10 more bosses before I get to them, and explore at least 150% of the map.
Yeah, you gotta get the upside down.
I do. I did get the upside down spell, and that is fucking crazy already. But anyways, in terms of actual games, I didn't have the ability to like, see, or not have the ability, but really see what I wanted to buy because I've already have everything. But Saverines, what did you end up buying?
I do not remember. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find my activity on here.
Still trying to find it.
Yeah, I didn't buy anything this sale. The only games I'm really looking at buying right now are Bloodstained and Mario Maker. I'm actually really excited for Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, baby.
Like, just specifically for the masterclass from the game designer whose name, not Miyamoto, obviously, but the game designer for Mario Maker made this like tutorial class for
like
the
game design essentially.
Yeah, but it's like not just about like super advanced game design tactics for making maps in Mario Maker. It's like game design philosophy, and it comes from Nintendo, and it's like a rare insight into the mind of, you know, some pretty legendary game designers.
That's crazy that they're willing to essentially give you a college program
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
And all you gotta do is pay the game, and they probably won't lecture you on the thing. They'll just tell you through like tutorials like, hey, you should build this stuff because this is what a player's gonna intuitively do.
Yeah, it's all about like teaching. So when Mario first came out, there's the legendary like first part of the first Mario where you walk up, you can hit the question mark, you get the mushroom, you grow, and you get like the first Goomba. So he like explains that concept of like showing through game design and kind of how to do tutorials, really. And that's such a hard thing to do in this industry, to make a tutorial that doesn't suck. Like, we are going through that challenge right now with like trying to explain our strategy game, and it's very well timed for me because I want to like learn how to make a better game.
The perfect tutorial.
Yeah, the
The
perfect
perfect,
tutorial.
but it's never gonna be perfect.
No, it's
Even
never.
back then, people didn't have tutorials. They just
Yeah, they
expect
just
you to-
drop you into it.
Yeah, pop you into it, and then intuitively they made you do things to say, hey, if I get this, that means I do this, and then I can do X, Y, and Z off of these enemies.
But that's the perfect tutorial.
It is. It's intuitive. You don't think of it as a tutorial.
Yeah.
They just throw you in and you learn instinctively.
Yeah.
You may die a couple times, but after like the 5th, 6th life that you spend after doing the continue, reset, and all that stuff, you eventually get it. That's actually really good stuff.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if that kind of tutorial can even be done anymore because games are too complex. Like, you know, the NES was left, right, A, and B.
Select, start, up,
Yeah,
down, all that jazz.
but like when you're playing, like those are the only buttons you really push when you're playing. So it's like, that's a much simpler thing to teach somebody.
Yeah. But regardless, like in this day and age, can a simple tutorial be made without being a tutorial.
Yeah.
That's the biggest question because everyone expects like even Call of Duty will make you run a tutorial, and like that's actually engineered pretty well. But you're still running through a tutorial that says, "Hey, do X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, I remember when I first played Halo, they kind of
That's the
made
one
it
that makes
like
me
this
think.
whole thing, like, oh, I'm resuiting, and call it even up. Was it Battlefront? They made your first mission like really easy, where it was just maneuvering, and be like, "Hey, get out of here, go crawl into the thing," and you're like, it shows up on the screen, it's like crawl. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
you're learning all the things.
Yeah, in Halo, you had to look at all the lights.
Yeah, right. That's the tutorial, and it configures how your control is. That's also other things that tutorials can do is actually map your controls correctly the way that a player likes it. So Halo did that very well.
Two of the games that come to my mind as far as having like the most subtle tutorials would be like the first Half-Life, because they slowly like wean like here's the crowbar, and then they slowly like give you things that you like, because you can just go around like hitting walls and hitting desks and hitting things with it, but they slowly like give you items and give you environments where you figure out like the rules of the crowbar.
Oh yeah,
And then you get the pistol, and they slowly give you enemies that are vulnerable to the pistol, and then you work your way up to the harder things.
same thing with Portal. Hey,
Yes.
what do you know?
Yes, Portal's excellent idea,
Are those
example
two
too.
games related somehow?
They are. They're probably in the same universe actually.
Oh wow!
So, and the other game
Look
I
at
was
that
thinking
synergy.
about was Dark Souls 3. Has a really, really, really subtle
Does it?
tutorial. Yeah, like if you play through it and like the first like little section before you get to like the first big boss, if you play through it and kind of pay attention to the items that they give you and like the order they give them to you in, it's like, here's a ring for health since we know you're not good at dodging, and you get this ring so you can take a couple more hits. And they're like, here's this giant sword. I know it's slow, but here's the sword. You might want to try it on the next thing you're fighting. So like you're sitting there struggling with your sword getting murdered, and you're like, I guess I'll try this big ass sword. And the guy's weak against the sword. And you're like, oh, like pay attention to the things in the environment is what they're trying to tell me.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the time you beat that first boss, you're like, okay, I think I can do this, and then you can move on and enjoy the game. Dark Souls 3 did a really good job.
Are you really enjoying Dark Souls?
Well, I know, and that was a complaint against it. People were saying it was like a more casual one because of things like that, but I kind of appreciated that gameplay design. It's a really subtle tutorial without telling you it's a tutorial.
All right, Maniacs, tell us what games you played that taught you how to play the game without making you sit through a fucking tutorial. There's plenty of games out there. We already named a few, but that's not to say that there's any other game that's doing it well or different or anything else. So fucking hit us up at our Twitter at was it salt_tierpod. You can even make a photo out of it on our IG, which is salt_tierpod, and then our Facebook, which is obviously if you're watching on our Facebook live stream, you already know, but our Facebook is saltTier Podcast on Facebook.
And to close, we're going to talk about LOL in our updates. Yeah.
Got an update,
It's
huh?
Elo, you fuck. What's wrong with you?
Hello. Did you say hello? No. I said hello.
Oh my
One
god,
hour.
I want to strangle you so much. Anyways,
I'm going to give you a shooting star press.
John and Angelina, what's going on with ELO Hell?
So, Elo Hell is a narrative game, which is like a choice-based episodic sitcom, and it's all about esports and what it's like trying to go pro in esports, and we're trying to tackle a lot of the issues in the industry and kind of showcase and spotlight and celebrate some of the achievements, and hopefully it's on its way to competing with T-Sports. Already pretty much is, but
Of course.
still
I mean,
a few kinks to iron out.
League of Legends is already basically like number 3 sport in the world.
But I'll let John talk about the new iteration updates.
Yeah, so we finally got our little micro esport, Echo Star, into a place that is pretty fun to play. We had a game designer from 343 Industries come.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Halo Wars type person?
He said he worked on Halo. He did not specify which Halo he worked on.
Shout out to the Halo Wars games. Those are actually pretty solid. They're broken as fuck, but they're really fun though.
They're super fun. So he came in and he brought his expertise in and balanced the game out, and we added a feature, and he really just kind of made it more complete. When Von Shady came in, it was a little bit more broken, but since you
A little
came in,
half drunk on that one.
yeah,
didn't notice at all.
He couldn't actually win without one specific exploitative strategy. But since then, we've tweak the numbers essentially, and we've gotten to a place where it's like super fun. So essentially the game is like a turn-based RTS. So we took like a game like StarCraft or Age of Empires or Dawn of War, and we took the elements of what makes those games fun, kind of like organization of team compositions and micromanagement and base building and map control, and we made it much more simplified, and the turn-based mechanics make it a much more accessible experience. So like there's no stress in you're losing speed or you're losing your advantage by like
actions per minute.
Yeah,
APM
your APM
is going down because you're not fast enough.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, APM is so important in RTS games, so we wanted to make sure we took that out to a degree. You can continue your turns on your own time. You really get infinite amount of time to think about what you want to do. So now we have this like kind of core game that we can finally show off, because man, I don't know if we showed you guys what Echo Star was before it is what it is now, but it was just so bad.
I didn't know Echo Star, or not Echo Star, but like ELO Hell, like the mini game. I just knew you guys had like the MOBA aspect of it. Actually, playing Echo Star was very interesting. It reminded me of like combination of StarCraft and Civilization, just because I had the stop and start of the RTS, and it was all turn based. I did want to play it like an RTS though.
Yeah, and we want players to play it like an RTS. Like every time we've witnessed playtests, it's been like we have like basically the super speed function where you can set the turns to just go, and they'll go every second. So it plays like a slower RTS essentially. And we notice that as players get more comfortable with the game, they'll just play it at that setting. I think once we get further into the season, we start introducing harder and harder AIs. People are going to find that setting is going to maybe give them too many mistakes to win against those AIs. But theoretically, this whole like tutorial thing comes into play because it's a strategy game, and we're trying to make a strategy game that's an introductory experience for people who have maybe never touched a strategy game in their entire life, because we have the whole narrative fan base that we have to appeal to. So I mean, man, it's tough. Like we'll see how that goes, but generally we're happy with where it is, and we're excited about our launch that's coming up this month.
That whole part you were talking about, getting people into this genre. Sorry, were you talking about getting people into this genre who came from the narrative genre? It made me think of like Minecraft story mode, but like in reverse.
Yeah.
People like those narrative ones, but never played Minecraft. So you guys were like kind of like doing that, but like in reverse. That's
yeah,
interesting.
and I think that a lot of people are going to maybe not even realize when they buy our game that there is this really complex strategy game.
Yeah.
Like simpler than StarCraft, but still a game that requires like mental, like
Paying attention to the tutorial.
Pay attention
Nice.
to the tutorial with the great sound casting or the voice acting in that one.
Oh yeah.
I wish it will maintain and be the same for the next iteration.
You should have Loud and Brown voice over an announcer at one of the at the events in the game or something.
Heck yes,
Yeah.
that would be
Actually,
awesome.
let's do that.
I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
man.
if you have like actual announcing experience,
Yeah, you and
down
Goon.
the road,
You and Goon should tell you do it.
Holy cow.
shit.
Commentation by Goon and Gross.
He's already great. He's already slurring through his words. It's perfect.
Oh, baby, and the OTG.
Give them the alcohol at the end. Of that one.
Do you mean the New Belgium?
Yes.
Live
Hey,
dangerously.
Live Rangers.
Hashtag live dangerously. Thank
And
you,
that's
Lauren.
a great segue. Wait, is that we done?
Wrap up.
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you cut him off, but thanks for being an asshole.
No,
yeah,
I'm done.
I'm the worst. Was that it?
No, you're good.
Oh, that's it. So we're gonna start with closing statements with eggs.
Eggs
Dark
Dark
Knuckle.
Dark Knuckle.
X Dark Knuckle.
Eggs, Dark Knuckle, closing statements, and how our maniacs can find you.
You have to use that someplace now.
Oh my god, I
You
really
happy it's
do.
done now.
I am EGS Dark Nuke on Twitter. Our company is at Exato Games. EXATO, not Exacto. We
Sorry,
will win
I
that
fucked that up
war.
last time.
We will win that war with Exacto knives eventually. We'll see.
That's a hell of a war right there.
Yeah, I know, it's a
Fuck
hell of
around
a
with
war.
X-Acto knives.
Right? And then, yeah, our game is ELO Hell. We're coming out summer 2019, probably this month. we'll announce the real release date.
Nice.
Why can't you launch
Soon.
during PAX weekend?
Worst release date.
Exactly, because everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
anyways, hopefully this month, maybe next month.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, there was the Steam debacle. So if you go on Steam and wishlist our game, Elo Hell.
You don't have to worry about it. I did not do that to you guys. I did not touch my wish list because I didn't get it, so I didn't touch anything. So.
Nice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I also help run the Exato Games Twitter, the Facebook, and I have my own Twitter on @Hologram Dream, where I also talk about game development.
And you ride private
magical
jets.
girl stuff.
Magical girl.
Yeah.
Magical girls are the best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that
She's
means.
got good photography.
What does the fucking mean?
Transformation sequences.
Closing
Ah.
statements.
Start with that.
And why did you start with that?
Sage Bell at Twitter. Hey.
Pew pew.
You can do Sage Bell at Patreon if you want to look at, I don't know, photos of me in fashion shoots because I haven't been doing any photo shoots recently. Or follow me on Twitch. I know we're on Facebook right now, but at Sage Bell. Any donations that come to me go through to a cosplay fund that I'm doing. So I'm currently commissioning someone to make the White Queen from the White Queen.
From Alice in Wonderland?
Alice in Wonderland. So I'm being Anne Hathaway, basically. So I'm
Princess Bride.
White Queen. So I'm gonna have a week. But I have a week anyways. I have red hair. So yes, any donations go through that goes directly to the person who's doing the commissions, which is Mama Samu. And if she's in Seattle, maybe I could get her on here.
Ooh.
Okay.
And then to my left.
To your left, you have the save rings ... I usually be on Steam. Our Steam group is up to 28 members now.
Woo.
Oh, we didn't hit 30 yet?
No, not yet.
Fuck, we're not giving away games.
Nobody,
God damn it.
nobody wants no free games, and these aren't chintzy games either, people. So holler at your friends, at your Steam mates.
Maybe I'll give away fucking
Holla.
Bloodstained.
And while they're there,
Wasting
wish
you
list,
on
wish list all those games, you cheap bastards. And yeah, holler at us there on the Steam group. That's most likely where you'll find me.
He doesn't have social media.
I do, but I'm just lazy these days.
He doesn't have it.
I do though.
All right. Well, this is Loud and Brown. Welcome. I know you missed my voice. I am Gross Deaf on Steam, which I'm never on. PSN and Battle.net.
We built you a goddamn PC to play with all of us.
I know.
Last time I looked,
I know.
it said 198 days ago.
I know. But I am also Loud and Brown on Insta and Twitter. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
100%.
My closing statement is me and Sage are probably going to get bodied at Tekken at EVO. It's going to be real funny.
I
Destroy.
hope you stream that.
But you're gonna look good doing it though.
But try to
We'll
check
be
out
the
those.
cutest.
Try to check out those clips at CEO. You get a real good idea of how the game works. The announcers make a really good idea. I mean, the commentators make a good show about it to make it entertaining, but also explain what's happening, what a whiff punish is, what meaties are, what corner carry is. It's really, really interesting, and I dig it. And to my left, we're not only going to get a re-up on our beautiful sponsor, but we're going to see what the Dark Prince of Delridge is up to. Let's go!
Soft boys.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just literally playing Tetris and playing Bloodstained and drinking a lot of beer. And I'm also moving out of my apartment called the Shady Estates. If we want to throw a rager, we have until the end of July to figure that out. People in the Seattle area, let's throw a rager. Let's party. I don't like throwing parties, so we
now.
can do that, I guess. Anyways, I'm going to play Tetris. You can find me on social media at Vaughn Shady. Pretty much everything except for Twitter, which is _Vaughn Shady. One day I'll get that _ removed. Besides that, play video games?
Your argument is?
Your argument is hashtag live rangerously.
Live rangerously. It's a lot harder to say when you've been drinking, by the way.
Yeah.
It gets harder.
I want to thank Elo Hell to be here at episode 32. Made it way more fun. Just look at all these beautiful people.
Thank you for the updates.
Thanks for
Thank
that.
you for having us.
I want to once
Invite
again.
me to the next playtest. I'm going to
Yeah.
beat that tutorial.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna see your notification pop up because you're still on my wish list.
Yes.
All right, and I want to thank New Belgium Northwest for sponsoring us with all of their beautiful beer. This has been episode 32 of saltTier Podcast. This has been a production of the Soundcasting Network.
We'd like to thank Keith the Boogie's rolling eyes the whole time.
As we go way over time.
I think he has words for us afterwards. So we'll see you guys later.
All right, thank you kindly.
Bye-bye.
Oops, I kept.